What's up, everybody? My name's Jay, and today I want to talk about the Tier 1 Agis Holster. Let's get into it. All right, here it is. This is the Tier 1 Concealed Agis Holster. It's in wolf gray with the neon green. It's got the standard 5-hole clips instead of the ULT clips or ULT clips or whatever. And the cost of this holster shipped to my door was $135. Initial impressions when I first got this holster, it came in some pretty decent packaging. It came in it was like one of those like drawstring type backpack things. It wasn't like a canvas. It was like a thin nylon sort of kind of packaging. But either way, really nice. Something I do use just to kind of hang up like my frequently used holsters in my closet. I just kind of hang it onto that. But you know, initial impressions were that this is a quality product when you pick it up, when you hold it, when you use it. You can tell it's quality through the fixtures that they're using, the materials that they're using. I'm not exactly sure how thick the Kydex actually is, but it is really nice to use. And the outside's got this texture to it that you can see there, but the inside is smooth, right? I wouldn't say it's polished by any means, but it is certainly smooth. So it makes for a pleasant experience when you're using it. So initial impressions of this holster were very, very good. The holster was very well received by me. Some of the things I dislike about this holster. So I think first and foremost, the thing I dislike the most about this holster is the way that it actually holds the firearm. And what I mean by that is if you look inside here, you see this this L right here, right? And it's got the same thing on the other side. If we can kind of get some light down there. But yeah, see, there we go. It's got the L right there. So it holds the firearm by friction, squeezing the trigger guard between those two raised points on the holster. Let me get my SIG out. So this is my SIG P320 Compact. That is what I bought this holster for. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there. This is just a magazine, and I got the tap rack training aids here. So we're going to go ahead and put those in. Same thing here, right? So I got this holster to use as my primary everyday carry holster for this firearm during the winter months. So winter months, we're wearing hoodies and jackets and things like that. I can conceal a bit more gun. So that's what I got this holster for. And the thing I dislike the most about it, and I'm not saying I don't like this holster, but the thing I dislike the most about it is how it actually holds the firearm. So with other in the waistband holsters, typically when you seat the firearm into the holster, you'll typically hear like a click or a pop or something like that. And it's kind of get some positive retention that it's going to really hold on to the trigger guard. And this one, I'm not sure if you can hear that. It doesn't have that. I'm not saying that it feels loose in any way, but it doesn't feel like it's it doesn't feel like it's, you know, got really positive retention. You know what I mean? So it just feels like it's friction fit. And that's not the worst thing. I mean, the firearm is secure, right? I mean, I'm not going to shake it like it's the end of the world, but you know, it's also not coming out if I'm you know, got to run across the street or something like that. Same thing with the magazine, right? It's not going to come out of there, but it is, because of the interior being smooth and well polished. It is, you know, it's easy to take out the magazine while also keeping it secure. So, you know, to each their own with that. Me personally, I prefer a more, you know, affirmative indication that the firearm has been seated in the holster, you know, tactily and audibly, more so than what this holster gives you. So keep that in mind. The second thing I don't like about this holster, that I thought I was going to like, but it turns out I really don't, is the way the magazine carrier attaches to the firearm side of the holster. So I want to say I appreciate the logic behind this, in the flexibility of application that this gives you, because this was really designed to be an appendix carry holster first and foremost, but it also gives you the opportunity that if you break these apart, you could carry the holster, say at your, you know, I'm a lefty, so it'd be like my 7, 8 o'clock, and I could still keep my magazine carrier up front on my appendix side. So I thought, where this was a bigger firearm, maybe I'm not going to want to carry that much firearm, you know, appendix style. So I'll give this a shot, and if I don't want to carry an appendix, I could always carry it like this. Well, a couple of things with this when doing it that way, is that I don't find it comfortable to carry at my, you know, 7 or 8 o'clock position with a wing on it. And I get the whole idea of concealability and all that. I just don't personally find it comfortable to do that. The way I train, the way I've carried for years, is I carry appendix. It's how I do my dry fire training, you know, 2 to 3 times a week. It's how I've done most of my range trainings, is through the appendix position. So that's just what I'm most comfortable with. It's what I find to be the most comfortable throughout my day. And then not only do I not really use this application, but what I find is when you sit down, when you're wearing the holster and you sit down, you're in a seated position, and say you're going to lean over to tie your shoes, for example. What can happen is that these buttons here will come undone, and then your magazine is floating separately from the pistol. So I don't personally like that, because I like to know where my gear is when it's on my body. So when I need to go to use it, right, it's muscle memory. I can just grab it and I'm ready to rock. I don't want to have to reach for my waistline and then have to start finding things. So that was the other piece about this I didn't really like. So, you know, I'm not saying that this is a bad holster. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if I had to do this again, I'd probably go with a different option. I'm not a very tall guy. I'm only 5'7", 168 pounds, so I'm not big by any stretch of the imagination. And this is a pretty wide holster to have in the front of my pants. So if I was going to buy this holster again, I think I would go with the Axis. So this one's the Agis, and then the Axis is it's almost like a bungee cord that would actually secure this to the pistol side, and it would still give you the ability to have that flexibility there in the middle of the holster, but it's going to hold it a little bit tighter and present, you know, probably a holster package that's, you know, probably like a ½ inch to an inch less in width than what the Agis will actually give you. So just a little kind of, you know, learn from my experience. If that's something that's important to you, and you're interested in Tier 1 holster, keep that in mind. You know, how wide of a holster are you going to be okay with sitting inside of your pants? So that was another thing. that I've just kind of, it's not really a dislike, but it's also not a positive either, right? It's just my mileage with this holster, and your mileage may differ. One of the other things I didn't like about this holster, and it's actually not the holster, but one of the other things I didn't like, when I first got this, I immediately threw one of their wedges on it. So this is what the Tier 1 concealment wedge is. And it's just, it's got like some gel adhesive here on the back. You would put it on the back like that. So when it sits inside of your pants, the idea is that it pushes the gun, the butt of the gun in towards you, and then the wing, along with this raised plastic element here, would continue to push it into you with the handle pushing into you. What I've found, at least on my frame, is that it actually just created more bulk and didn't actually help with the concealability at all. If anything, it actually made the concealability much worse for me personally. And what I think is actually behind that, right? I'm not saying that these wedges are a bad idea. I do think that they're a good idea, and they have a place in the market. I just don't think it's with a compact firearm. So this is the SIG P320 compact. It's got the 4-inch barrel, roughly Glock 19 sized. And what I think the true purpose of these wedges is to offset the imbalance created by the weight of ammunition within the handle of the gun. So if you had a smaller barrel length on your firearm, say you had a 3.5-inch barrel, like what's on the M&P Shield or the SIG P365 or the M&P Compact 2.0 that's 3.5 inches, what that can tend to do, and what I've experienced with my own M&P Shield, was that because of the weight, there's more weight in the butt of the gun than there is at the barrel of the gun, is that can cause your holster to tip forward in your pants. But with a 4-inch barrel or larger, you don't really have to worry about that, because the length of the barrel is going to really prevent that from actually happening, right? So you get a better balance with a compact or larger firearm than you do a subcompact. So I think these are really appropriate for a subcompact. I put one on my QVO Wingman holster for my M&P Shield, and it's been phenomenal. It does help it conceal. It is more comfortable. But that is, again, a subcompact firearm, and I think that's really where these shine. I don't think it's for the compact and full-size firearms. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the things I actually really enjoy about this firearm, or I'm sorry, about this holster. This holster's fit and finish is excellent. All of the fittings on it are outstanding. The edges are all very well polished, and it is really comfortable. And I appreciate a lot of the innovation that Tier 1 is bringing to the market for holsters. It's already a pretty saturated area, but things like the wedge, the way that this wing is, these raised plastic elements here, or the Kydex elements that help push the gun further into you, all really do make a difference. In this holster is really comfortable to carry. The minute I took that wedge off, it made a huge difference for me on how comfortable this was to carry. To the point that now I can put it on and forget about it and not think about it until I actually need it, right? The firearm. So it really does just kind of melt away. So I love all the colors and the customization that they give you. You can get these with optics. You can get them for firearms with threaded barrels. And just a whole host of things that you can do. Like I said before, you get different clips, and the configuration of the holster can be different. So there's a lot of customization that you can do to make these yours. But overall, my overall kind of final thoughts on this is it is an excellent holster. And I wouldn't necessarily get the Agis again, but I would absolutely buy the Axis. 100%, hands down, absolutely do that. I do wish it had more positive, tactile feedback for when you're actually seating the firearm into the holster. But outside of that, I mean, everything else has really been fantastic about this holster, and I would absolutely recommend it. With that being said, let's take a look at how it actually looks once it's actually on my body. All right, so I'm going to show you guys what this looks like on my body now. And the way I line this up on my body is probably a little bit different. It doesn't sit perfectly in the appendix. I have it a little more centered, again, because I'm not a very big guy. But I'll line up the belt clip here with my belt loop on this side, and then that typically pushes the magazine over to my right side a little bit because I'm lefty. So go ahead and get that in there. Put that there. There, and then I'll just kind of scooch it over a little bit, and then, you know, this is exactly something I would wear on basically an everyday basis. So this is kind of, you know, what you could expect for concealment from it. You know, nothing too crazy. I'm sure you can tell there's a little bit of something there, but it's, again, nothing that's going to scream, you know, I have a firearm on me right now. So, you know, and then it's obviously, you know, right there. You can get down, right? It feels good. It's not super uncomfortable. I can bend over, no problem. It's super comfortable. You know, I got my legs up, no problem whatsoever. And, you know, overall, I think it really is a quality holster. But again, just the form factor for how wide it is, and those buttons that come loose when you're in a seated position and bend over, which I'll show you here in a second. But when those, because of those two issues, I would probably go with the Agis if I was going to buy this again. Which, you know, if I get another gun, I'll probably end up buying that instead. So let me see if I can actually show you what this looks like when this thing kind of pops and comes undone. So sitting down, whatever you want to tie your shoe, and of course it's no, just did it. Okay, so you know, sat down, pretend like I was going to tie my shoe, and what you're going to see is, and hopefully you can see that, but the bottom two had actually come undone, and then once one or two of them starts coming undone, the rest of them are really just right behind that. So again, I love the idea of that. It's, you know, I'm sure it's going to be useful for somebody. It's just not that useful for me because, like I said, I carry in the appendix. It's really the only way I carry. And so you know, a better choice would have been to go to the Agis, which is what I would do in the future. But that is no knock on this holster. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite holsters. So with all that being said, please like the video, subscribe, and if you have any questions about the holster, if you have the same holster, I'd love to know what your thoughts. Put those in the comment section below. And if you don't have this holster and you have any questions about it, also put those in the comment sections below. I'll stay plugged in and try to answer those questions as I get them. All right, take care. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.